Today we are working on our 98 Jeep Cherokee to compete in King of the Hammers. Welcome to Johnson Valley. Today we are working on our 98 Jeep Cherokee to compete in the 4600 class for King of Hammers. Off-road desert racing. That's what that means. So today we are gonna start getting things like officially bolted up, hopefully for the last time. That means getting this rear axle put in, getting the front axle put in, getting all of the battery cables plumbed, all the fuel plumbed, and probably driving. All right, so this rear axle is a fabbed Ford 9-inch housing from Rough Stuff Specialties. And the inside gears are a Yukon gear and axle with 529 gears and a spool for a locker. And we're using Super Duty unit bearings for the outer wheel bearings. And the wheel and tire combo on this thing, mwah, beautiful, beautiful. Just look at them. Look at them. Next step is bolting these monster axles back to the leaf springs. In previous videos, we actually had it bolted up, but the mounts weren't totally finalized yet, and we didn't have all the bolts. But they're done now, so this thing's ready to go in. All right, rear axle is in and looking beautiful. Those actually look really good. I'm shocked.
So I am back up here in Utah because the rest of our tires just got delivered. As of today, we have 9 days until race day. So we're getting down to the wire, but the tires was really the last big thing that we were waiting on. I think the only other things that we don't have is an axle shaft, which should be delivered today. And then we're waiting on some steering stuff. And then I think that's it. All right, we are finally out of Hildale. We're actually in Vegas right now. I just stopped at Adam's Driveshaft. Here's the load of tires. Here's our drive shafts right there. We've got a front, a rear, and a spare. And let's get back on the road because we've got about 4 hours to sunset. And I want to be back to KOH before dawn. Huh, Higgy, should we get back on the road? All right, so we made it back right before dark. We already got everything unloaded, but let's see what the guys got done today.
That's a dang looking bumper.
That's a dang looking bumper, huh?
I meant to say dang good looking.
That's a dang looking bumper.
Really
just one of those things that you look at and you just go, dang.
That's a bumper. That's a dang bumper.
That's
right
a
there.
dang looking bumper.
That is the best aftermarket bumper I have ever seen for the Cherokee. It's pretty dang good. So this bumper comes from Rough Stuff Specialties. They just barely came out with it. If you want one for your Cherokee, you can go ahead and go to Rough Stuff Specialties. Use the code Rudy10, save you 10% on your dang bumper. All right, so one of the things that you need to do when you lift these Jeep Cherokees is you need to get rid of the slip yoke. The slip yoke is back here. Basically, the drive shaft goes in the tail shaft of the transfer case and it slips back and forth. I'm going to eliminate that because the way that's set up, the drive shaft is kind of prone to bad vibrations after you lift it and oftentimes too short. So let me show you what you do. Go to Adam's Driveshaft and you pick up a slip yoke eliminator kit. And if you're sticking to a regular Jeep Cherokee and everything, they should have a drive shaft already made to fit it. If they don't, then you'll have to do this first, then figure it out. And it's a little bit more of a process, but it's still not bad. Those guys know what they're doing and they can get you sorted out. After you get your drive shaft sorted out and your slip yoke eliminator gone, the drive shaft has to move somewhere else. Oh gosh. Give me a sec, hold on. All right, after you get rid of your slip yoke eliminator, and your axle cycles and stuff, the distance between your transfer case and the flange of the axle changes. So something needs to take it up. With the splines right here, it's able to move up and down and back and forth, whatever. And that's where the new adjustment will be taken up. So instead of right here at the transfer case, it'll be right here on the drive shaft. This is beautiful. They did a great job on this. Hey Higgy, you want a packing peanut? They're edible now. Did you know that? You should try one of these. They taste like corn.
No, I'm good.
You want one? Kind of tastes like popcorn, unseasoned. And it
This is actually edible.
yeah, it will completely dissolve. They make them out of corn. See, it's dissolving. Gone. Yeah, go snack on that. All right, so unfortunately to rebuild this, you gotta tear it pretty much completely apart. I'm gonna rebuild this thing super duper fast so you don't have to endure. I'll see you in about 5 seconds. All right, it's got this transfer case put together with the 1350 joints on. That, you know, that's just a bigger U-joint so that we can party a little harder, if you will. So now that the slip yoke eliminator's on, I'm gonna fill it up with oil because it's easier to fill it up on the ground. And then we're gonna put it back in the Jeep, bolt it up. Nothing crazy, just business.
Sure you got it?
This one's light.
Okay.
Transfer case is in, cross member back in. Zach's getting ready to weld the links, and then this front axle will be pretty much all put together. We're gonna work on doing the track bar today so that we can actually put this thing on the ground completely on its own springs. I decided that we're gonna work on the interior. Zach is getting batteries in. I am working on fuel stuff. Pretty dangerous combo, but luckily there's no fuel in the system yet.
As you can probably tell, we're kind of just doing a whole bunch of everything today. Just trying to knock little things off the list. Right now, I'm gonna start putting these quarter panels on. These are from Rough Stuff. They look like this, big and bulky. And we'll be using rib nuts to mount these to the Jeep itself. This is a big hole to be drilling into the side of a Jeep. I'm a little nervous.
So yeah, they go, make sure that all of them can read.
We got this side on, and just don't look too closely because it's not perfect. But I mean, for this being as damaged as it was, that looks pretty dang good.
Since Zach finished doing the battery stuff, he's actually putting our Simpson seats in right now so that we can figure out where the seatbelt tabs need to go so that they can, you know, be proper and not want to hurt us. I'm gonna keep working on these fuel lines though. Got it from the tank to the transfer pump, and then the overflow from the surge tank back into the gas tank. I'll go over how it all works when I'm done so you can follow along. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep making these AN fittings. I'm having so much fun doing those. My hands are gonna be blistered by the time these are over. Look how awesome these are. Like, I can't wait to smash that into a rock. That rock, not gonna know what hit them. On a separate note, I finally got all the fuel lines done, all the fuel fittings kind of hooked up. I still want to pull them all out though and clean them up, make sure I'm not plugging any injectors or fuel filters or anything like that prematurely. So the fuel runs from the main tank into my surge tank, and from my surge tank goes all the way forward to my fuel regulator up here. When you're converting from the stock Cherokee setup, you need a way to regulate the fuel pressure because too much won't make it run very good. And I have it up here because the closer you have it to the injectors, the better. The better the pressure is. You don't get pressure spikes or drops or anything like that. So all the excess pressure from the fuel pumps then goes back to the surge tank where it can be recycled. With this setup, it's gonna help a lot with the vapor locking and heat soaking and stuff like that. Well, another cool thing about this setup is I have 2 fuel pumps. So if one fails, I still have a backup one. We also are running 2 batteries. So there's a lot of redundancy built into this race car to keep us going on the trail. Hopefully none of it fails. I mean, we're going oversized bolts on everything. After talking to a lot of people who have raced and have done this sort of thing, I've been trying to take all of their input and applying it to this car. Even though we're building it quickly on the lake bed, I still think we're doing a very good job. I mean, everything is just built to the max. Like, I mean, just look at it. Look at it all. Just take a look. Would you look at that? Just look at it. Over here, Zach just barely put our pass-through for the positive wire into the engine bay. From our main battery cutoff switch, this is our positive. So essentially, we can get rid of this, hook that to where the battery was hooked to before, and then this will just be gone forever. So that's the new battery positive for the engine bay, which is great. Super simple, easy access. It'll clean up a bunch of this wiring that's right here. We'll redo this ground so it's not looking like that. And yeah, it's totally awesome. This is awesome. Tomorrow, if all of my steering stuff gets here and we work quickly and efficiently, there's a pretty good chance that we're gonna be driving this. So I know it looks like it's pretty far, but come on. I really wanna drive this and you wanna see it drive too, because the race is 1 week from tomorrow. So we got 8 days. Well, sorry, we got 6 days to pass tech and, you know, whatever. So cool, cool, cool. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow. Morning. Just found out that the steering got delivered today. This is great. This is good news. This is the best news I've ever heard. Hey, we're gonna send Janelle to go pick up the steering kit. I'm probably gonna work on mounting the transmission cooler and getting the trans cooler lines in. Zach is going to work on getting the rest of the cage pretty much done, specifically in the cab to here. Look who stopped by.
Hi. We were in the area, you know.
Yeah, it's close to home.
Yeah, we're usually in California.
He's gonna judge the work we put our heart and soul into.
We're gonna judge harshly and accordingly. So, what do you figure?
Got some transmission lines to finish plumbing, and then we just have to put the dash back in, and it's good to go.
This is awesome.
Just trying to make it survive.
I gotta ask. What's the reasoning?
For racing?
No, for building it out here.
Everybody builds it at their shop at home. I was looking at building a 4500 car, and at SEMA, I'm like, well, obviously there's not enough time for that.
What is this one?
4600, it's the stock class. I'm not allowed to cut inner fenders. I'm not allowed to modify anything really.
Right.
So the whole stock body is here, aside from roll cage holes. And I'm like, well, pretty much anybody could do that. So why don't I do it in the desert?
It's looking good, huh?
So,
This is awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I love that it's mostly just, you know, because why not?
because why not? Well, the real reason, if I'm being completely honest, is I've been trying to go camping for my birthday the last like 4 years, and I've missed it every time. So I'm just cashing in all at once. This might not be the most ideal place to go camping. But I promise you, like up until about a week and a half ago, there wasn't a soul out here.
Oh, I know.
It was so nice. Okay, so I got done running the transmission cooler lines. I'm not too worried about that. I'll show you how they go in a minute because I have to pull them out anyway. But we're moving on to the rear axle shafts. And this arguably is the thing I have been most excited for in this entire build, is how are people building custom full float axle shafts and making them work with these rear Super Duty unit bearings. When we rebuilt this center section for the Ford 9-inch, we upgraded to a 35 spline center section. And that's because 35 spline like is kind of industry standard for strong without being totally custom. Whereas like you can upgrade to a 40 spline and that's like insane and humongous and kind of is like almost that size. Anyway, so we've got a 35 spline here, and with the Super Duty unit bearings in the rear, we're running a 35 spline back there. And then on top of that, you can do these things called drive slugs or drive flanges, which essentially gets rid of the locking hub. In this case, it's this slug that splines onto the axle shaft, and then these outside splines spline into the unit bearing. This just caps it all so you don't get any dust. Let's go ahead and slide this in and see how well it fits. Right there. And then this cap goes on like that. Finish it all off. So this doesn't actually have any load bearing properties. It just is there so that the shaft can't come out. We've got a snap ring on the end of our axle shaft. So if we break one of them and have to pull it out, that axle won't just continue sliding in. It's stopped right there. So I actually want to talk about this axle shaft a little bit more. So I got this axle custom made from Dutchman Motorsports, and they have it pretty simple where you go online, you fill out a form to exactly what like the specs you want. So I know it was the 35 spline with I think 33-degree chamfer edge, and then where I want the snap ring groove to be, and then how long I actually want the spline. So I could have made these longer or shorter. I made them a little long because I didn't know if they would fit perfect, and if it didn't, I could trim it down and still have enough to fit. So that's how I came about these. So not too difficult, not too hard. They made it super easy. I was able to talk to them on the phone, and they made it happen pretty quick. And in fact, it was so easy, I ordered them while we were on the lake bed. Crazy turnaround, right? That's pretty awesome. I mean, we have been here for a month and a half, feels like. It's been a month. It has been. Gonna clean these up, get these installed for good, and we can fill the diff up with fluid. So tonight's actually pretty crazy. I would consider it the first night of King of the Hammers, just with how many people are here. It is insane. We're working a little later tonight because there's so much noise anyway. I'm not worried about running my generator at all. We're getting these high steer arms built. This is part of the mock-up. We're just gonna keep it super simple, super straightforward. And this is gonna go right here. Notice we actually have the tire on the front end now. Rear tires on, front tires on. It's looking fantastic. I'm just gonna keep on getting this mocked up and hopefully tacked onto that arm, and in the morning we'll weld it up. Another unfortunate thing we found out is the brake pads we got are for an early Super Duty, not the later Super Duty stuff. So we're gonna have to run into town tomorrow morning and get the correct brake pads. That's what's holding us up from driving. So yeah, I'll probably send Janelle or Zach into town to pick those up in the morning while I get everything else ready to go. We're getting super close. If bolting the tire on the front of this doesn't get you excited, I don't know. I'm having a blast out here. 14 and a half. It's 1 3/4 plus 1 3/4. Let's see here. All right, last night I got the high steer arms tacked in place. We're getting ready to cut our drag link and fit it up, make sure everything fits, and then we'll probably get welding everything. Then we can get hopefully bump stops put in, get the springs put on, get shocks put in, limit straps, and then the front end is done. Huge weight lifted off my shoulders. As soon as that's done, then we can work on limiting and putting the shocks in the back. Hopefully Zach will be back by that time and he can finish putting the front end together so we can actually drive it, because there's nothing really stopping us from driving this right now except for those brake pads and all the work that I just mentioned. So let's get at it.
First thing for today, we're gonna get this gear loop into the front and rear diffs, because I think we all remember last time what happened with the gear loop situation. So
Really? So I got the tie rod in and I've got this axle at full bump. I really like where this is at right now. I could go higher, but then I'm hitting my pitman arm and that's not good. So this is where full bump is going to be. I'm just figuring out where the bump stops need to get mounted, and then we can figure out the track bar, and things are looking good. As soon as that gets back, we can put the front brakes on and get the tires on and hopefully have this completely buttoned up for him. Then we can work on actually getting this thing wired enough to drive it. Oh, and shocks. We gotta get shocks in too. But minor inconvenience.
All right, I'm back from town. Picked up a new unit bearing and some brakes because the ones that we had did not fit. We're sure gonna try to get it driving tonight. So this is part of the cage. It's gonna run through the grill and tie into the bumper. Then we're gonna run a down bar to the shock tower and a little engine cross member. Just structural stuff. Dang, it works. Now we can weld it up. I can weld it up. No, we don't have any gas on.
I would just tack it a couple more places and oh, that's nice. We're gonna go get shocks filled before the sun goes down completely, and then we'll be back at her. Whoa, look at that clearance right there between the axle and it. It's pretty great. Hold up, come on. All right, we just stopped at the Holly Off-Road and ADS suspension booth and got these shocks filled with nitrogen. Now we can go put them on the car, and there's still a really good chance that we can drive that thing tonight. So,
sweet.
Let's get back. That looks pretty dang good. Wow, that even has a ton of room to play. I'm gonna throw a couple more tacks on this thing, and then we'll
Good idea.
and then we can get springs in and put tires on and go to bed.
Oh, this is gonna...
Let's go up and get the tires on. I am so nervous.
Just relax, man. Every little thing's gonna be... I totally said that wrong. Everything's gonna be All right.
Okay, go on down. Holy crap. Ah, ah, there's nothing holding it.
Throw a piece of wood under a tire.
Did you see this? You can stop now. Thank you.
Fine.
It's on its own weight. Oh, this is good. This is really good. It feels like a real race car. Don't, like, small children definitely should avoid walking out in front of this thing because that hood is high. I'm hoping the springs wear in a little bit, maybe settle an inch or two. Otherwise, later we'll probably throw some blocks in the rear end. But this is fantastic. I mean, look at it. It's on its own wheels.
Dude, I think that's great. Like, it's got just like a little bit of a lean, but not bad at all.
Why is this tire leaned in so far? And this one too. Like, it literally is like this.
Dude, I know. That's what I was thinking looking at this. For some reason, the C's look leaned hard.
Good thing about that though is they say this is better for racing.
Yeah, it's
Like,
I mean, it's definitely a better, like, it's going to track the car a little bit better, but it kind of looks stupid. But
no, I think it makes it look aggressive.
and
when
it's going to
like
be
that.
rough on tires probably, but
Dude, we're racing. We're gonna be rough on tires.
are you good or are you just hysterical?
It's hysterical.
Whoa, that one's like a lot.
I know.
It's like really not happy about that.
What?
About that tire.
Don't let that bother you because we can't change it.
It bothers me. I think the stance on it's great, honestly.
Dude, it looks like a pre-runner. Like, people are like, what's that? Twin traction beam? No.
No.
We stanced it. I know it's not driving. I have a serious problem with time management and realistically understanding how much time things take, but it is sitting on its own wheels. We've got some things to finalize and a little bit of things to change tomorrow, but I'm pretty happy with how this is going. And like, yeah, I don't know. We're not that far from driving. So if we finish up the front end, do the brakes, and then 2 little electric jobs for the fuel pump and the trans cooler, we're done. Like, not done, but we're driving at least at that point. Fantastic. We're close. Next time you see this thing, it's definitely going to be driving, and we are probably going to be doing a bunch of pre-running in it. Probably. Probably not. But we're going to try. Thanks for watching. Wow.
Put it on.